session. I could not get my chat session to pop out.
We're live probably by now.
We are live.
I'll show you that.
Boom. Show it later.
Yep.
We'll do a test later.
We're still messing around, still getting situated
in because it's 2018.
It's first 2018. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Scott. Now, who do we have with us?
Who do we have with us? Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Who is it?
Still getting situated. You got to mute that one.
Back up. You have to mute your back up.
Happy New Year to you, Scott. Now, who do we have with us? Who do we have with us? Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Who is it? I have a lag. Hold on, we're working through a lag. Can you hear us, Roy?
I don't know. I think it's, we're having some problems at my side. Apologies.
That's all right.
Yeah. And just mute the one tab that you got open.
Is that better now?
That's better.
That is it.
What's a live stream without some technical difficulties?
You got to have it.
Right. I actually thought it was your side. I was waiting for you guys to fix it.
Yeah.
Happy New Year. It's wonderful to be here. It's Roy from Aqvavitae. Really excited to be joining you guys. Brilliant. Superb.
Well, we are hoping to continue the tradition. We started last year, January of 2016, with a live stream on New Year's Day.
Let me lean back. I was in, and I'm almost feeling like, I was
encroaching.
Well, I thought you were getting ready to have me yell.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll do that when we introduce what we're going to be.
Good point. I was just prepping.
Our Hogwarts dram, as Roy calls them.
Really?
Hogmanay.
Hogmanay.
Hogwarts, something. Anyway. So in the fall of 2015, we just started. We got the live streams up and going. We figured them out. Last January, we had our first annual New Year's Day live stream, and we were looking at our guests. Who can we have on this year? Someone who's been a big help with us.
One of the merry men.
Although
we've had merry women on as well.
Yeah, exactly. Roy, though, Aqvavitae came on the scene this year. A lot of us whiskey tubers communicate, we're friends. We communicate back and forth. Roy is a big help. He's in Glasgow, Scotland. He brings that experience, that knowledge of the home field, you could say.
Whiskey tubers. I feel like you could make like a digital pie out of that.
Out of whiskey tubers?
Yeah, the tubers, pumpkin, yam.
Well, that's what we are specifically, right? I guess that, the whiskey fabric is a much bigger thing than us. It involves everybody that's into whiskey if you use the term fabric, but we are specifically whiskey tubers, and whiskey tubers, we would say here.
Whiskey tubers. That's new to me. I've missed out on the current lingo.
Oh.
I'm not up on it. Did Swami come up with that?
Check Twitter once in a while.
No, I don't ever check Twitter.
I know.
I'm anti-Twitter. That sounds like a Swami. A whiskey tuber.
So anyway, we thought we'd sit down. Roy has the terminology is Hogmanay dram, which is your end of year dram. I believe that brings in the new year.
Yeah, Hogmanay is what we would call New Year's Eve, and usually the idea is that you kind of pour whatever you really enjoy, pour your favorite one. But it's just another way of kind of saying your favorite whiskey of the moment, or the whiskey. For me, it was the whiskey that I engaged with most, the one I liked most in the last year. But for it to be your Hogmanay dram, you still have to have some of it left.
Well, we have my Hogmanay dram was the Glendronach 21 Parliament. Bart's Hogmanay dram, and neither one of these we've reviewed yet. It'll be coming up shortly, but the 2017 edition of the 12-year Lagavulin.
Right.
And what are we going to do, Bart?
We're going to test it! You kind of shocked me. I wasn't quite ready. I was all relaxed.
Going through the intro and talking about the whiskey.
I was still trying to work on Hogmanay. I like it. I was still in there. I was still like stuck on the tuber. I'm like, okay, we got tubers, we got Hogmanay, and then all of a sudden we're testing something.
I've got Eric Waite asking who talks funnier, STDs or Aqvavitae.
Totally the STD.
I think I probably win that competition.
Oh, I don't know. We're out there. You've got the dulcet tones. Let me get the water out of the way.
Well, as long as I'm understood.
Oh, crystal.
Now, I am looking for the Whiskey Rev. He volunteered to be a moderator. I was going to let him do that and watch the chat for us. I don't see him in here yet, Roy.
Oh, really?
So he joined.
Well, I guess he needs to chat. He needs to say hello or something so you can.
Okay.
you can find them. But
Now, when'd you get? What are these?
Christmas. I got 2 books here for Christmas.
Yeah, I was immediately. I am a fan of the reading, and I was immediately intrigued by what you got here, because you got the single malt, the new single malt whiskey from. It's the introduction by Clay Risen. Chip Tate does the foreword. We know who that is.
Yeah, I guess I don't even know who the author is on that.
I know, it doesn't say there. And then you got the Curious Bartender, an odyssey of malt, bourbon, and rye whiskeys by Tristan Stevenson. That's a good, powerful name there, Tristan. Now, Roy, thanks to you, I went and got the, now I'm going to forget the name, the Whiskey, the 2018 yearbook.
Yeah, because I guess I sent you this 2017.
You did. I found that was this one. Oh, yes. Yeah, I went and got the 18 because not only really the articles are phenomenal, but the breakdown and how he's even broken down the different whiskeys by region, and then all the contact information there. I just used it to actually reach out. I reached out to Lagavulin. Obviously, with the holidays, they weren't there, but I had some free time, and I just used the connections there to send out. What? Free time.
You had some free time. I'm calling bullcorn on that.
It was close. It was close, but I had like 10 minutes, and because of the book, I looked up Lagavulin. I'm like, who do I want to talk to? And it was Lagavulin. So I reached out.
Did you pour this? I didn't see
I did.
Okay.
I got some of the 21 in there.
Well, unfortunately, I don't have the 21 to join you, but I'll open the nearest thing that I have. This is one of my Christmas bottles. Was the Allardyce.
Yeah.
The 18. I think you guys have reviewed this, haven't you?
We have not. We had samples of that. Well, I think in our live stream with the Scotch 4 Dummies, we took a look at some samples.
I love the pop.
I put it right up at the mic. Somebody said to me recently, they said, I get this thing that you talk about, Roy, that whiskey's a multi-sensory thing, that, you can see it, you enjoy how it looks, you can touch it, you can taste it, certainly you can smell it. And he said to me, but hearing it, no, I don't buy that. And then I said,
oh, yes.
Really?
Yeah, the cork coming off. I love, I'll hear a wine cork every once in a while. I'm always looking for whiskey when it happens.
Yeah.
Real quick, I just see Samuel Cast 1 asked where I got the books from, and my mother-in-law got those for me, and I don't know where she got them at.
She's awesome.
So, look, I guess you can probably check Amazon, I'm sure, or Barnes and Noble.
I'll put them up there just so people can look at them again. I pull them down too.
We are not paid advertisers.
Nope. Although I'm going to be stealing these from them pretty quick.
Negative.
What are you talking about? You're a quick reader.
So are both of those books world whiskies? I mean, maybe the single malt one, is that Scotch and the other one's world whiskies or something?
Yeah, the black one is just the new single malt whiskey. This one is the Curious Bartender, which takes a look at some malt whiskeys, bourbons, and rye whiskeys. So
they do have a little tag on the back that long the provenance of Scotland, single malt whiskeys are now being made all around the world, which might be the nod to Chip Tate.
Could be.
So maybe they do spread out a little bit here, but it doesn't go into. I'll have to look at that later. Little sushi. Wow. All right. That's interesting.
Glendronach 21 Parliament on our end, aged exclusively in Oloroso and PX sherry casks.
I can smell the sherry.
Roy's version, the 18-year, is aged for 18 years only in Oloroso sherry casks. And
it's exclusively Oloroso. And this is the first. I've only just opened this bottle just now, so sometimes they can be a little bit tight and they need to sit out a little while. But really, this is just jumping out the glass already. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Now, you always say the PX sweetens it up for you, right?
Yeah.
I'm learning.
Yeah.
I'm learning.
Oloroso will usually bring just a much darker, those plums and raisins, darker fruits. And then the Pedro Jimenez will usually add just a nice, more sugared sweetness and berries type, for me anyway.
Yeah, I mean, when you try Pedro Jimenez as a wine, you realize it's a very, very sweet wine. To be honest, it's not even something I would enjoy having too much. but it's very sweet. And it's quite surprising that you would expect a lot more of that sweetness to come through. But I think a lot of the time it's the wine only just plays a cameo. It just plays a bit part, right? Whatever has been in the cask. What you hope for is that a lot of the time these can be European oak, and you can get a lot of that European oak flavors coming in and things. A lot of the spice from European oak. But this is fabulous, yeah. We can't compare these. We can't compare if the 21 is, but you should be getting some sweeter notes in it, I guess.
Now, this one, though, was my first purchase from Masters of Malt. And I had gotten an email from them. I'd registered and subscribed to them a while back. And I think it was in September, early October, I got an email, and they had this for $120.
Wow.
So with shipping and everything, I think it was like right at $150, somewhere in there. For a 21 year, I mean, you can't find it for that in the States anywhere. And yeah, it's a little bit smaller bottle. You know, it's the 700 milliliter or the 70 centiliter, but which is about 2 ounces. 2 ounces difference.
Yeah, I'll steal more than that from you.
Watch the Glendronach prices rise this year. No question. They'll definitely rise. Especially now that the name's getting known and everybody seems to be talking about it. They got a huge amount of publicity out of their 15 revival, which there was a time that you could buy that for 40 to 50 pounds, and it was sublime for that money. Absolutely tremendous. But yeah, I picked up this Allardyce for, I don't know, I think it was about £70 for an 18-year-old exclusive Oloroso aged product. It's bottled at 46%. Almost perfect presentation. It's just wonderful stuff, really is.
This is delicious, and I was not disappointed when I cracked this Christmas morning at all.
I bet not.
No, I mean the Oloroso sherry is there, but then that powdered sugar sweetness, kind of with that Pedro Jimenez coming through.
I'm getting like a dry vanilla honey on the finish as well. That kind of surprised me. I mean, I expected the sherry influences, and they're there in the forefront, but the beautiful lingering finish of and a velvetyness still on the cheek of a honeycomb and of a vanilla and something else I can't quite peg down. What's the wood? I'm getting a real different. Maybe that's the European oak, but I'm getting a different kind of oaky flavor as well.
I get gingerbread,
maybe
like gingerbread, kind of shortbread cookies.
A ginger. That could be it.
I'm picking up almost everything you're mentioning, even though we're drinking different drams. The vanilla honey, yeah, I'll go with that. Gingerbread, yep.
They are surprisingly similar, though. I can remember when we had the samples, but side by side, and even though, and I prefer Oloroso sherry finishing, I mean, or just exclusive Oloroso sherry. But when we had these side by side, you know, in some sample bottles, I can remember I really liked the 21 better than the 18, even though the 18 was Oloroso or exclusively Oloroso only.
You're right. Yeah. The powdered sugar touch, that's the dryness. It's not like a real strong astringency. It's totally that absorbing powdered sugar.
We got a question here, Roy. I don't know if you've seen it, from Alan McDonough.
Right.
Happy New Year's, guys. Love both of your channels. Today I started my Infinity bottle. What do you think of the idea of using the Solera method on whiskey?
Well, I think Alan's probably talking about in terms of production rather than doing it at home, right? An Infinity bottle. I don't know if you can see just above my head here. There's an Infinity bottle. And I kind of keep that topped up with things that I enjoy, things that I think will mix nicely. And I usually screw it up, right? Screw it up regularly. But what's amazing about it is that you leave it for a while and it seems to settle out and you know, it comes good again. And then you can try and adjust it and add other things. But I think Alan's question is obviously about the Solera system, which comes from wine production, right? Where they just empty half the cask and they continue to top it up and top it up. And theoretically, the vat at the end before bottling becomes older and older and older. And I think it's a fantastic idea. Why not? It fits within the regulations of Scotch. You're able to do it, which is kind of cool because innovation is difficult in Scotch sometimes with how tight the regulation is. So yeah, it's a good system. But I think you need to be a reasonable size to pull it off well, because I think you need a lot of stock and a lot of investment, you know. And I think the most famous one is the Glenfiddich 15 Solera, right? And I think that's a decent dram. I think it's one of the better Glenfiddichs, I would even say. One of the better core range. So yeah, bring it on. Anything that you can do is fantastic. What does Alan think? What has he tried from a Solera system?
Yeah, if he has a follow-up on that, I'll let you look at that. But for an infinity bottle, so even from the home side, you have an infinity bottle that you will add things to, like when you get down to the heel and you're trying to kind of mix and play with that as a blending on your end.
Yeah, I mean, really, this is like a liter bottle. It's an old Altmore bottle that I use, and I'll just put a little sticker on there to keep myself up to date with what's in there. But it's just anything that I consider worthy. And I've only ever put age statement stuff in this, and that's not to say that I won't ever put an on-age statement in, but right now it's a 9-year-old. The youngest component that's been put inside this is 9 years old. And I've just found out recently that Vin from No Nonsense Whisky has the ability to measure ABV at work. So I'm going to send Vin a sample or two of this down, and I hope that he can tell me how the ABV is doing on it. But I think a lot of the stock that's gone into this is cast strength stuff. Wow. So there's some closed distilleries in here. There's Little Mill and Brora. There's lots of independent bottlings and things. Anything really that I'm enjoying, I'll just, as you say, Bart, just put the heel in, or put kind of I don't know what 5 CLs to you guys is, what, 2 ounces? I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, and just keep it topped up, and then never ever let it drop below. The idea would maybe be halfway, but this has been down quite low at some points. It's been down to maybe about a third, and just keep it topped up. I might even try it tonight and see how it.
Yeah, I'm curious. This is new to me.
And
have you ever done this?
I know people do it. I haven't done it.
I've never.
No.
I mean, I've heard of the blending and what I call the Frankensteins, but I've never heard of this infinity bottle where you're always topping it. That's neat.
I mean, it's the first guy that I saw was Ralphie when he put a video up a few years back, 2-3 years back, about this, and he's talked about it. He brings out his infinity bottle from time to time. But then I was talking to a guy on Instagram, and I don't remember who the guy is. I'm still connected to him now. I apologize, but we got into a conversation about how he was doing it, and I said, this would be fun to do, and it is. I mean, it's coming up on a year now. The 4th of January 2017 was the first time I put anything in this.
Wow, we need to do that on the show. Mm-hmm. That'd be neat.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a long-term thing. And just kind of, I suppose, during a review, if you've got a short review, you could pull out your infinity bottle and see how it's going. But I see that you're up for doing long-term things, because the review that you put out the other day is, I think it's a fantastic idea. Should you gas your whiskey? And what you're doing is going to be really interesting to see how it turns out come next year. Yeah. I've got there's actually a bottle I finished recently. This is the first ever peated bottle that I went out and bought, and it's just a malted Cadden heads. You just go in and they fill the bottle out of the barrels in the shop. And I bought this in 2009. And I bought it on the back of my Epiphany bottle, which is this 20 cl bottle of Lagavulin. This is what changed me from being just like a fan of whiskey into somebody who was going to go nuts over it, right? So this has been in my whiskey collection for coming up for 9 years, right? 8.5 years, certainly. And I finished the Whiskey Rev, and I finished the last 2 drams out of this 2 nights ago. And it tasted every bit as fresh as it did. I mean, we can't compare it, obviously, as it did to my mind in 2009. No doubt it's changed. There's no doubt it's changed. But has it gone off? No, certainly not. And also there's an argument that if you gas the whiskey and it keeps it static and it doesn't allow any oxygen oxidation, if it just keeps the whiskey exactly the same each time you pour it, well, that's great. But I love the idea that a whiskey changes from the top to the bottom, which is exactly what the recycled reviews thing is about, right? I love the transition that it goes through. And I couldn't really say that there's a point in a bottle where it's at its sweet spot and I want to freeze it and hold it. So, but I'm still curious as to if that wine preserver actually works. And the experiment that you guys are doing is a pretty solid way of demonstrating that, I think.
And I noticed in that bottle, there's a little bit in there. I was going to say that might be something you would chug down before you throw it in the bin. Scott style.
Yeah, that I have to say, Scott, now that I've got you live, and just to thank you for that video. I think I was nervous about it, as you know.
Well, yeah, for those watching, that took a little thought, and I came up. Roy does the recycled reviews. He's drank the whole bottle. So he's at his recycling bin. He's getting rid of the bottle, and he's giving us his thoughts on the whole bottle. Basically, like he says, it's allowed it time to oxidize. It's changed over time. Would he buy it again? Well, I had an idea, kind of a mockumentary.
Wow.
You know,
a nod, but at the same time with a dummy humor.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So at my recycle bin, I started almost 10 whiskeys in almost 10 minutes. But I left, as a pun, a little bit of whiskey or Coca-Cola in each one.
Well, we don't know if it's Coca-Cola. That could have been a bottle of Wow that you chugged.
That's right. And so we see a progression with mine as I go on. The alcohol starts to kick in.
Or the acting gets better.
But as I was doing this, I contacted Roy and I said, hey, I need your music. Well, what for? Well, you know, I'm doing this video thing. I don't know.
You are the STDs.
Like, yeah.
I don't know Roy, if I want what you got.
It'll be okay. I need it, Roy. Just trust me with this one. Roy reluctantly gave me the music, and he didn't know for sure what he was in store for.
Yeah. Burning down the barn. That's what that was.
Well, I think as exchanges go, I did very well out of that, because I gave you the soundtrack. And in return, I got a huge spike of traffic. I got a lot of comments, people coming in directly saying I'm here because of the dummies. So I got a lot of exposure. And I think I told you at the time, I was at 809 subs when that video went live. And by the Wednesday night, which was only 3 nights later, I was at 879. So I put a lot of that traffic directly down to that video, guys. So I'm very, very appreciative of that stunt. It was wonderful. I did walk into the Good Spirits Company in Glasgow, which is a whiskey retailer. They're a really good little shop, actually, in Glasgow. And I was talking to them and picking up a couple of gifts and things. And the guys there asked me, they said, oh, what did you think about that parody video that went out about you? And I thought, yeah, it was really good for me. I thought it was wonderful. I thought it was a good laugh. And they were kind of like, good. They were reassured. They were worried that I was offended. I was like, yeah, no, absolutely not.
I'm reassured that somebody else in Scotland watched us.
It. Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
Well, it's good that you let them know it was good. We come over there on our first visit and people start running us out of shops. They'll be like, you made fun of Roy, get out. And well, that's more like a Midwestern accent. I don't quite have that down. Shoo.
No, it was good. It was fabulous. Yeah, and I think that, to be honest, December has just gone crazy. I don't think it's just gone crazy for Aqvavitae. I think it's gone crazy for a lot of channels. We're all enjoying this kind of surge. And it happens, I'm told that it happens at this time of year. Kind of people are at home a lot more. I don't know. People are maybe looking at Christmas whiskies. I don't know why exactly, but the surge that everyone's experiencing just now may be indicative of that kind of growth of community, of people getting together on YouTube and realizing that it works very well as a platform to enjoy and share whiskey. I hope that's the case.
Yeah, and I think as it gets colder, especially in the States, a lot of people turn more to their Scotch and their rye and their bourbons. So
well, and then Christmas comes, everybody gets new phones, new iPads, new computers. What do they got to do? Check out YouTube.
Boom. YouTube's taken over.
Yeah.
And I guess the responsibility lies with us then. You know, we've got to just kind of bring the quality, keep bringing the content that people enjoy sitting watching. And you know, it can be tricky, right? to fathom all of that stuff out. As you guys say, learning on the job, right?
Yeah. I don't know if we're always associated with quality.
No.
At least where I'm in. Yeah, where I'm in, it's more like quackery. They're like, there's some quackery going on. You see that one guy?
Well, I have to be honest. If I consider New Year last year, I was very much on the other side. I was just sitting watching all the content. And the reason that I started to support you guys as a patron is because of how much time I was watching the Dummies videos. I think I've told you this before, that I pay a Netflix subscription, I pay Amazon Prime, and I pay for all these TV services. And geez, I was watching more minutes of Scotch Test Dummies than probably anything. And I was going back and watching old episodes and things before I knew who you guys were. And that's when I realized, damn, if I want this to endure, this needs to be supported. So that I worked out that you had a Patreon, and I kind of went on and started to support you guys that way, which I think Patreon is a fantastic mechanism for that. But yeah, people, it's like you say, Bart, you always say it's always going to be free. The show will always be free. But it does occur to you at some point, you know, this is good and I'm enjoying this. And I like sitting down, pouring a dram of whiskey and watching this. I probably should contribute. That's kind of what dawned on me anyway.
Well, that's great. That's what we try to do, is we try to be kind of like it's literally, well, you know this. It's like we're bringing people to hang out with us. I really feel like they're with us. We get so much feedback on comments just with folks that say, hey, I love hanging out with you guys, and that's how they feel. And yeah, that's the real enjoyment. Matter of fact, and nod back to you, when you sent a little care package with some crackers and some different things in there, and then he had the QVC code that you had, and I played that. And my wife hears your dulcet tones from Scotland. She's like, "What is this?"
This was early on, before Roy, I think Roy might have had 2 or 3 videos out on his channel.
Yes, and it was on how to pronounce, which I need on how to pronounce the different distilleries. But she hears your dulcet tones, and she's like, "What is that?" And I said, "This is a gentleman, I didn't even know you yet, from Scotland, that sent us a little care package with some local Scottish crackers and things to cleanse the palate, and that you'd included a video." And so she listens and watches that video, and I think that was the first time she thought what you and I were doing was somewhat legit. Mm-hmm. Before that, I'm convinced she thought it was a whiskey scam just to justify the money I was spending. Hey, it's part of the business, babe. And yeah, when she saw that you had, because you explained how the show reached you, which was very good to hear, and it was very much what we were trying to do. And when she heard that echoed from your voice, I mean, I joke, but she really said, "Wow, I didn't know you guys were really doing that well."
Yeah, I think that what it was a good metric of the impact that you guys have had, that there could be people in Scotland and where the product is made tuning in to see what some guys in Kansas think about it.
Oh, you're good.
And it's because that there's fun there. And I think I remember talking about it at the time, but Ralphie had been doing it since 2009. He's been doing it for a long time, right?
Right.
But Ralphie remains to this day, and love him as I do, he remains an island. And he's remote, and he will occasionally dip in and reply to comments. He will interact, but obviously the scale of what he's doing is much bigger. It's much more difficult. But there's also an air of isolation there, which most people don't mind. I certainly don't mind. But when I started to watch you guys, that was inverted completely. It was the opposite. What you guys were standing up and doing is saying, "Hey, we want to talk to you. We're dummies," was your mechanism for that. But actually, you were sitting there and you were sharing anecdotes about whiskey. You were talking about whiskey. You were teaching people about whiskey, but in a way that was utterly connected. It was the community thing that you were doing. And then your live streams start about a year ago now. I don't know, it's just over a year you guys have been going live. Mm-hmm. When the live stream started, I mean, that's just started to multiply that so much more, so that you were connecting up communities. So if you had on another YouTube reviewer or something, you were getting their subscriber base across to see what you guys were doing, and vice versa, which is just a fabulous dynamic and completely destroys the idea that we could be competing with each other. You know,
Yeah, yeah, we grow each other. I mean, that's something. I mean, I had a little bit of tip of that when I was doing the board game reviews. I was with a site that was extremely popular, the Dice Tower, and they would. He never took somebody else's show as competition. He helped me when I even, sprung off and started my own show, and I learned, it's really not competition. It's just shared information online.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's we've realized that there is a growing community there, and if we can bring quality, fantastic. But at the same time, we have to find ways to keep people engaged and entertain and educate, and because I think that's the biggest growth there. And the biggest growth for people coming into YouTube is not to sit down and be entertained with a drama. I think that we know a lot of guys that do that. But I think the real traffic and the real growth will be people who are actively curious, whiskey curious people who want to come in and understand what this drink is all about. And what they don't want to see is for the first bottle of whiskey that they've been given, like some non-age statement, supermarket fodder or something. They don't want to sit down and watch a reviewer destroy that whiskey and the damage their experience and make them feel like the whiskey that they're loving, that they're connecting with, is crap whiskey. I think that's a huge mistake. So I think what you have to do is you have to enjoy the whiskey and review the whiskey as objectively as you can, and try and put it in the context of anybody's whiskey journey. And you guys were also very good at that. Again, using the dummies mechanic, you were good at that. You weren't judgmental, but you were honest and tended to say, look, this is good whiskey. The quality's not in doubt, because bad quality whiskey is rare, right?
Right.
Well, whiskey that you don't enjoy is a bit more common, perhaps. And you would say, look, the quality of this is good, but would I buy it again? No.
Right.
And that's what, it's okay for somebody to be told that the whiskey they're drinking, the reviewer won't buy it again. But for somebody to stand up and say, this is rubbish for all of these reasons, I think that's unfortunate when I witness that. I don't know if you would agree.
Spot on. Spot on. We get very lucky in the fact that by accident, we ended up where I'm a peat head and Scott's more of a sherry ball. Sorry, we're getting a little feedback on something. Is that us?
Yeah, I don't know. Usually it should correct itself. Right. I think it just did.
And we got very, very lucky, even where I lean toward American rye or rye in general, you lean toward bourbon. So we've had a very nice way to bounce off from each other as well. And I've talked too much, which is the tendency.
I've been waiting to get in here. We got a couple of things. I need to ask Roy a question.
I'll be quiet.
Before that, a couple of comments. First one from the Scotch Test Dummies. They want to know if we can review a board game and Scotch at the same time, and that's a no.
Bam, we should try it. That sounds like a challenge.
Bart, I tell you what, Bart, you come on to Aqvavitae's live stream and we'll do a board game and Scotch review. That's what we'll do, right?
Perfect.
Just have to get home from work.
If the Scotch Test Dummies keep watching, they had sent us this sample of Ben Nevis a while back.
Wow.
So if we get through the Lagavulin, we'll pull this out and take a look at that, guys. And I know you've been waiting for us to hit that up. Now a question for Roy that's came in. A couple people asked earlier, when is the next recycled review?
Well, in the garage right now, I have 2 recycled review.
In the what?
And yeah, in the place
garage
the house where we keep cars.
I liked it. He said garage. It was perfect. I was like, I have a garage as well. I don't call it a garage.
I'm going to switch. That's what it is.
It's very close to carriage.
Here on 4th, the garage.
The garage. I love it.
Yeah, in the garage right now, there are 2 baskets, and there's at least enough bottles in there to probably provide me with 2 or 3 recycled reviews. I think the worst thing I could do, though, is put one of those out a month. I think the guys who are providing my medical insurance would have some questions, right? So.
Well, you share your whiskey.
I do share my whiskey. I share a lot of my whiskey. But I think that there is, when we're talking about creating content for YouTube and things, there is a certain amount of responsibility that comes with that. And we can poke fun at it, like Scott's review that he did out of his dumpster, you would call it. It was
just outside of my garage.
Garage, yeah. You're right. Right. Everything we say is much worse. It's like a dumpster. You were dumpster diving, whereas Roy, he's just reaching into the bin.
It's just the bin.
The bin.
The bin.
Marriage. Yeah.
I can't. You know, it's fabulous how popular that silly little thing has been. I mean, that's the most common question. I think it's probably what the people that know the channel, the people that interact with me, that I think that's the thing that they like most are those recycled videos. It's been a very cool thing for me.
It's this encapsulation of multiple. You're hitting from one to the next, to the next, to the next, and then your level of moving through how the bottle treated you basically from start to middle to finish. And then you get that wide, it's really a depth of your expertise because you're kind of off the cuff saying how that bottle greeted you and how it left. And I think that's one thing it's you can tell it's not scripted. It's from the heart kind of, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I have to be honest, I don't script it. And I found that anytime I try to record anything to camera, if I script it, I cannot repeat the script. I can't. I get tongue tied. I make a mess of it. The only way that, like, just the way I'm talking to you now, I have to imagine that that's what I'm doing. So when I take the basket out, I literally pick up the bottles and just try and recall my overall relationship with that bottle from start to finish.
I think that's
there are bottles out there that are not mine. There are a few of those that have come from the Whiskey Rev. But literally, I wouldn't be exaggerating for me to say that I've had virtually half that bottle, which is the exact same as any other bottle I throw away. It wouldn't be exaggerating to say that I've shared at least half that bottle as well, usually with the Whiskey Rev, but other people as well. So they're not all mine, but I did know them all intimately, and I think that's the only caveat there, is that you have to know what you're throwing away.
Well, and so great transition here into our next bottle. You just finished off the 2017 edition of the Lagavulin 12. So I'm sure that will be in your next recycled review.
That should be. Harumph, harumph.
Now
it will be. I don't know if it'll be in the next one, but it's certainly, there's an empty out there just now. I got through it very quick.
You had reviewed this, and Phil over at Whiskey Wednesday, he had reviewed it as well, and both of you glowing reviews. Or I don't think you had reviewed it. You had, I think you bought it and tasted it, and I think on Twitter had said something, and Instagram about it. So I had seen it at our store. On both of your guys' recommendations, I had to go pick it up. So here's the influencers influencing the influencers.
Right.
That does happen.
Oh, yeah. It should happen. I opened this at home after you gave me to try. I'm like, I get tobacco.
And I tried it, and I was blown away, too. I gave it to Bart. I didn't say anything about it. I just told him, I said, here's this Lagavulin 12. Try to get it tasted. This year's, we'll try to shoot it. And next time I see you, you're like, that Lagavulin, whoa. I got to get me my own bottle.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin the review with you because we'll surprise each other. But Lordy, I started sipping more on your bottle than I legally should have. That's all.
So let me ask then: Have you shot the bottle of this 12-year-old?
No, we haven't.
It's sitting there. Matter of fact, I brought it over. Yeah, I brought it over because I went.
Yeah, are you going to pour that and drink it tonight?
I am right now.
Yep. We're drinking it right now.
This is my second bottle getting open just now.
Well, see, and that's what I did. My spouse was like, "What should I get you?" And I was like, I literally took a photo of this and said, "You take that photo to the liquor store and say thank you."
Now the tobacco notes I really get since you brought that up, but to me a nice, just a kind of a really vanilla citrus, and the strong Lagavulin peat as well. What you are getting here, though, there's say the Lagavulin 16 and the Distiller's Edition, very popular Lagavulins, are sherry cask influenced. This one is just ex-bourbon cask. So you're getting true Lagavulin here with no wine cask influencing at all.
And delicious.
56.5%.
This is the reason I pulled out the Whiskey Yearbook 2018 and I turned to Lagavulin. I'm like, I have to find these people. I never really dug too deep. You know, I'm a little more surface. I don't get into who owns them, you know, where they at. They're part of the Diageo group, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I found out when I was reading the whiskey yearbook, and I was like, wow. I've reached out, but I would love to get somebody from the distillery or an ambassador to come on and talk to us and go a little bit more in depth. So I've reached out to him.
Hoagie Bear's asking if I'd tried the 2015, and the answer is yes. I've not tried the 2016. I didn't try last year's, but I tried the 2015. I thought it was a very good bottle. I mean, it's always good. I mean, cask strength Lagavulin, it's always good. But this year's bottle moved me, absolutely took me to a place. And the place that it took me was Lagavulin, back at the warehouse. And it also took me to that thing that happened to me in 2009 with the 16, the flavours that were there, I connected with again in this bottling. I've just opened this new bottle now, and straight away, yeah, I'll buy that tobacco thing, Bart, but I'm also getting that creamy, sweet note. I mean, you just know it's almost like you're smelling a texture. And I know that sounds like madness, but that's how I'm connecting with this just now. It's been a wonderful, wonderful addition of Lagavulin for me.
Very good. Yeah, the main tobacco flavor I get is right before the finish kicks in, and it is my grandfather's pipe tobacco. He had given up cigarettes, moved to the pipe, and then he transitioned away from the pipe and no smoking at all. And it just brought me back to like 1976, maybe. And I literally was transported back and was just like, wow, that is pipe tobacco. And that's on the flavor. And I was just like, wow. And that's why I had to have a bottle.
Well, I think the danger is that when everybody waxes lyrical, because if Phil at Whiskey Wednesday, he gave it a solid 10 out of 10, I think. And then that was the kind of thing that made me go down and open the bottle that I was saving for Christmas. I opened it because he was going on about how good it was. And I thought, if it's that good, I want another bottle then. And I opened it, and sure enough, I thought, wow, this is just fabulous. But even if somebody opened this and tasted it, if they didn't react to it the same way that we did, fine, but there's no way they're going to say it's anything other than a completely solid, high-quality representation of a Lagavulin. It's very good.
Do you know anything on your end? Is color added to the 12? Is it non-chill filtered?
So Lagavulin are famous for not only colouring the 16, but admitting it. So if you go on a tour at Lagavulin, they'll quite happily tell you they add colour to the 16-year-old. But then you'll hear them talk about how they've been providing that 16-year-old since the late 80s. In almost the exact same bottle. In fact, I've got one up here. This is an early 90s bottling. So this bottle is 25 years old. So this distillate in here is early 70s. But look at it. It looks virtually the same. So when you're going for that level of brand identity, that level of consistency, you can understand why they need to artificially adjust the color. Because 95% plus of the whiskey drinking public don't understand why their whiskey is a different color in this bottle than the last one they bought, right? So they'll tell you at Lagavulin that they add color. However, the bourbon aged Lagavulin 8 and Lagavulin 12, I don't think there's color added. Now that's despite, if you pick up a carton, especially for export, you might see the words Mit Farbstoff printed on there. But that's a cover-all. They're going to put that in all their boxes just to cover them, because they don't want to have to go out and order a new batch of boxes for non-coloured batches and coloured batches. They all say that. They all say that. The printer puts that in all the boxes. And what Lagavulin are saying there, what I take from that is that they reserve the right to add colour if they feel that they're in a scenario that it needs it. So without any official word from Lagavulin, good luck getting that. That's the way I would interpret that whole scenario. And again, it's one of these things, if you've watched my ABCD video, colour is one of the things in it, D for dye, but I would say that it is one of these things that you risk getting in the way of you enjoying whiskey sometimes. So you need to just understand that that is more about working out the attitude of a producer when they bottle the whiskey rather than the quality of the whiskey or how much you're going to love it.
God, I love this. This is good.
If they told you, yeah, there's E150 in this, would it spoil the experience for you?
No, because
I'm simple though.
I mean, like you talking about Lagavulin 16 is colored.
Yeah,
I expect it. No.
Yeah.
And let's talk about non-chill filtering just for a second. Last Wednesday, our review of Jim Beam Distiller's Cut posted, and it's a bourbon, but it is non-filtered.
Right.
Or it's only screened.
Screen filter.
It's run through a screen just to catch the big chunks. The charcoal. We had a commenter.
Every whiskey that's meant for the mass market has to go through a filter just to take out, like you say, the fragments. And
someone commented at the time, though, commented on that video. One of the distilleries did an experiment with their employees.
I saw this.
And they gave them the chill filtered bourbon and the non-chill filtered bourbon, and the majority of the majority of the employees picked out the chill filtered bourbon as their favorite.
Right. In other words, they thought it tasted better.
Right.
Well, there's an interesting experiment done by Horst Luning in Germany on his whiskey.com channel, and he did a similar thing, but it was using a very limited batch. It was a fairly small run. I think it was fairly extensive when you consider, that he was doing it himself. But his results were, I mean, I don't want to spoil it for Horst. I mean, people should go and watch the video anyway, but his results were inconclusive, that people couldn't tell the difference. Now, I've just poured a little splash of cool water into my dram here, and I have to say that it's remaining pretty clear, which suggests that even though this is cask strength, 56.5%, so it doesn't suffer from the cloudiness and transportations and things, but this might also be chill filtered. But who knows? Until they start putting it on the box, on the packaging, that's the thing. They don't need to put it on the front. They don't need to make it in big announcements, but just put it in the Whiskey Geek section on the back label, right? Just tell us.
I like that. Yeah, put that on there, and then someone may say, you know what, I love this, and wow, it's chill filtered, and I still love it. Right. Speaking of things I love, both my wife and that game called Azul.
What is this?
That is a game that my wife and I will usually, we always try to game, but there's a brand new game out called Azul.
Show that up there again.
All right, hold on.
Oh, wait, the camera switched to Roy.
No, he shut me down. He set me up, and then
I should have done that to begin with.
He moved it to Roy exclusively, so I couldn't share the photo. No, there's this great tile laying game. It's a real quick, short game called Azul.
Really?
Yeah, I had to work it in. Come on, it's either that or I think Roy would also enjoy a game called Pandemic. That's all I'm saying.
I think that's one you've recommended before. Yes, the Whiskey Rev is the gamer. He's the gamer in our life.
I was looking at our time
and love the Rev.
We're doing plenty good on our time.
Yeah, we're good. Don't try. Yeah, that's it.
If I see the viewers start to drop down, then
we just went from 105. I think we're up. We're up, and it's because of the game that I mentioned.
We're at 105 viewers, and someone asked earlier what our record was. Our old record was 101 viewers during a live stream. Roy just broke our live stream record with 105 viewers. So now that fluctuates up and down. It could actually be a little bit higher, 107.
Wow.
So everybody call your family, call your friends, call your grandmas.
Tell them Bart's talking board games.
Get them on here.
That'll bring them like droves.
Well, I know for a fact it's not me that's broke the record, but I'm going to claim it.
Oh, you claim it. You're the man.
Let's go and tell you what. Let's take a look at this. There's just a little bit of this sample from Ben Nevis.
Sip yours.
We'll just pour it in one glass.
Because I had to pour some more of that.
Let me cleanse my palate with a little bit of water.
Wow.
From what I understand about that Ben Nevis, I think what you might want to do is just pour a teaspoon and then immediately reach back for the Lagavulin.
Oh, yeah, there's not too much here. They've got nice colors. Now, this is a 20-year or 18-year.
18.
It's a 1990 single cask Ben Nevis, 18-year-old. This was, and actually Hoagie Bear is watching.
Hoagie. Wow.
Hoagie Bear had sent this to the other dummies, and they did a live stream with it, and then they sent the rest to us.
Oh,
It's bottled at 61.2%.
nice, high. Good.
And cast strength natural color, since we were just talking about
Wow,
color.
it's got some. I'm going to let you sip it first, but that's actually got, if you can see it, some pretty nice color there. My hands are clean.
I still got just a little bit of peat on my palate.
As you should.
Might take a couple.
That Lagavulin. Wow. Wow. So, Roy, this was the year of the beard for you as well. Have you worked in or maybe the goatee? Have you worked facial hair before, or is this brand new?
No, this was a lazy holiday. I mean, my job changed in recent years, and it meant that it didn't matter if I looked scruffy. So I've never been able to grow a beard in the past. I've cursed with thin facial hair and just never, ever bothered. And then in holiday this year, I arrived in Spain, and, you just chill out and you just go with the kind of Spanish time. And yeah, I just stopped shaving. I just decided not to shave. And my wife didn't really seem to care so much. So I went with it. So I came back with a beard, and then realized that I quite liked it. I enjoyed it. I don't know if either of you guys have ever tried it before. I mean, it's not a beard as such. It doesn't really qualify as a beard. It is just some facial hair.
Bart's had a beard.
Yeah, I grew a beard like a German. Wow, that's a little different.
I'll tell you what, that sucks every bit of moisture out of your mouth, doesn't it?
Extremely astringent. But
Now,
I'm getting a red licorice. Probably not fair to compare this with the 2017 limited Lagavulin release either.
Well, no, I had to take one sip, and then I took a sec. After I let it coat everything, I took a second
I'll
sip.
try one more sip, but yeah, I want to go back to my pipe tobacco.
It's like a liquid glue, actually. Actually, though, the Scotch 4 Dummies didn't care for it. I kind of like it.
I don't.
So maybe what's happened is it's had time to aerate in that little bottle.
It's very rich, but it's very astringent. It's sucking all the moisture out of your mouth. That's 60%. We haven't added any water to it.
Right. Can I say that I think that the guy who supplied that sample to the Scotch for Dummies is in the chat tonight. I think it's Hoagie Bear in Germany.
Yeah, he is. Yep, he's watching.
He says rich. It's rich, but
and his notes, he's got oohoo glue and sauerkraut.
Okay, wow. There you go. The kraut. I love sauerkraut.
You think that?
Yeah, it's a little bit of that sourness that slides in. Wow.
But yeah, Hoagie Bear. Whiskey Jason says varnish and sauerkraut.
That surprised me. Yeah, I get a little bit of the sauerkraut.
Well, not necessarily. The Scotch 4 Dummies didn't care for it, and at first they thought Hoagie Bear was pulling a prank on them.
No prank.
But so I said, "Well, send it over here. Let us test it."
I agree.
I don't think it's that bad, though.
It's not that bad, but I do get a little bit of that sauerkraut flavor.
It's a little bit different. Like I say, it is glue. Smell it. It's like almost like Elmer's glue.
Yes, that's almost exactly like a nose of an Elmer's glue.
Yeah.
I had thought glue, and I thought, I don't know if I can say it because maybe my sniffer's off.
The palate doesn't match it, really. I mean, it's a wood. It's a sour wood.
But the nose has an Elmer's glue to it. Hold on. Let me go back to the Lagavulin. Oh, my. Delicious.
And there's almost a sherry that's hidden in there with it.
Tell me, Bart, now that you're back in that with your nose in that Lagavulin, tell me you don't get some nice spun sugar. The sweetness is quite a surprise.
Yes.
Vanilla spun sugar.
Right. The nose is so light, and you're right. The sweetness of the sugar, the spun sugar. I get I don't know if I can explain it. I get a warmth, which I don't usually describe in a nosing, but I feel like I'm getting a warmth even in the nose.
So the Ben Nevis hasn't ruined it for you?
No. No. But on this one, I mean, the standout for me is that just before the finish, arrives is that pipe tobacco is just an instant seller for me. I love tobacco notes and flavors anyway. And I've never been a smoker or anything, but boy, do I love it in this.
Yeah, the tobacco notes there, also the nose as well. But I get kind of moist tobacco, like pouch tobacco, in a lot of whiskies.
I've got the last little bit of this Ben Nevis, and I'm going to add a drop of water to it.
Putting a little water in there.
Try to open this baby up a little bit.
You play with that bad boy.
I like it. I do.
It wasn't bad. I mean, it just, the nose was a little bit woo, and then like I said, it's not a fair comparison to even have that, in my opinion, with the 2017 Lagavulin. Boy, is that tasty though, that Lagavulin.
Everybody's now talking about nail polish, glue, acetone. Eric's even saying he gets it in JD number 7. Yeah, that completely, that kind of chemical hairspray acetone type note. But it exists in a lot of good whiskies as well.
So Roy, as far as whiskey goes, worldwide even, not just limited to Scotland, obviously we're in a major boom right now, a worldwide boom. Where do you think, being that it's the new year, where do you think it's headed? How long do you think the dark spirit holds on? I've got my ideas, but I'd love to hear yours. In
terms of whiskey, in terms of the boom and the thing, well, I mean, it can't continue to increase at the rate it's increasing right now, clearly, but it's going to continue to grow. But I think what will happen, and this is just this is what you're asking for, right? Is just my kind of take on it, is that
100%.
Things like the bottom shelf stuff, the blends, the things that go in as a foundation for filler. Sorry, when I say filler, I mean a mixer, like a Coke, ginger ale, or whatever. I think that's going to continue to decrease. I think that we're becoming a bit more affluent now. We're becoming a bit more informed. We kind of aspire to higher quality, better things, and whiskey can bring that. And I think single malts, I think premium whiskies, I think any kind of anything with an eye to flavor as opposed to just alcohol will do well. I think it's going to continue to do well. Now, whiskey has come unstuck in the past because of fashions and changing aspirations and things like that. But I think we live in a different time now. We really do. You guys are getting a bunch of super chats in.
Yeah, very good. Whiskey Jason gave us $2, and the Scotch 4 Dummies just gave us $5.
Wow,
very good.
Superb. So I think that what's happening now is that in Scotland, if you just talk about Scotland, for example, the export value increased, but the volume decreased, and that tells you that what's happening is the shift is moving towards the single malts, the premium stuff. People are paying more for higher quality, but the volume is dropping because they're buying less of the blends, perhaps. And I think that's going to continue. And I hope it does continue, not just for Scotch, but for world whiskies. There was a danger at one point. Everybody in Scotland was worried that, world whiskies being good at making whiskey we would suffer. But
no,
the opposite is happening because everybody's into whiskey and there's still not enough whiskey to go around.
Yep. To me, I feel, obviously it's a different dynamic from YouTubers or whatever, or the media of whiskey, but the draw, and I think the world's changed. I'll run into some real old timers. I run into a couple guys in their 80s that are like, I only drink X and I don't touch anything else. And it's like tribalism with them. And I don't see that really in anybody 60s or under. It's more about the experience. It's how wide a swath can I cut? I want to try Japanese. I want to be down in Australian Tasmania. I want South African whiskey. What is India providing? And that wide swath, I think, is all the distilleries that are starting to open or are opening in Scotland. I think we're in a 8 to 10 year boom And I think it'll absorb. I think our whiskey drinkers are just going to keep growing and growing.
Well, a couple of things real quick. The super chat that someone asked about is you can donate money. It comes to us in the lower left-hand corner of the chat. There's a little $sign. You can click on that and you can donate money to us, and it helps the channel.
Usually that only happens when you take your shirt off.
And Roy just gave us $2 while Roy is talking. Wow. He's multitasking.
Oh, no, that's not true. I was really curious. I wanted to see what happened.
Well,
that's £2.
More of you need to be curious and see what happens when you hit the super chat.
Yeah.
But at least on my screen in the lower left-hand corner of the chat box is a little $sign next to.
Thank you to everybody that's doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing exists there. You can never. It's unlikely you're ever going to get to a situation where you can be profitable through these things. But I think it's a lovely way of people just saying it's a really good gesture just to say, do you know what? I enjoy this, and there you go, and kind of helps. Everything helps.
Yeah.
Sure.
Now Eric Waite has asked, and Eric is tuning in, and he's been tuning in. He's a big kind of a wine tuber. Real good friends with Swami, malted in Montreal. But he's asking, or he's saying, in his opinion, if the trend of whiskey follows the history of wine, we'll start to see non-traditional regions begin to produce quality whiskeys, i.e. South America, China, and New Zealand. Now, I know I just heard New Zealand is producing a whiskey. That should be available soon.
Good. Yeah.
I thought China already was.
I think China is working on actual like barley single malt, not whatever. Just like India has a lot of molasses whiskeys, but they have their John Paul, Amrut. What's the other one? I'm forgetting the other one. It's much more. It's barley based, and there's another
John Paul Amrut in India, and then there's Rampur.
Rampur.
Yeah,
Rampur.
That's new. That's good, and we got a bottle over here. We should pick up at our store.
Yeah.
The American single malts that are coming out, Westland using all their malted barley. I keep seeing news on our U.S. side where they're trying to work toward what an American standard single malt would be. There's a lot of with the States, there's a lot of people saying, hey, we don't want a legal standard. Some say, hey, let's have a legal standard. I think there's a lot of interest there. I love what Westland's doing. High West, a lot of great things going on with single malts here as well as the bourbons and the ryes.
Yeah, I think that Eric's right, is that you could look at what's happened in wine and probably see a similar route forward. But I need to tell you, if you've ever driven through France or Italy or any of the traditional wine producing regions and look at their landscape and consider that they've suffered in some way by Australia and California being able to produce good wines, it's not the case. I mean, the landscape is littered, and they are still very much wine producing countries. We're in a scenario just now in Scotland that a lot of the best whiskies are simply not available for us to buy, and we live here because the world is going nuts for it, and it's on allocation, and it's constantly allocated. Now, what that tells you take away from that, and it's the same in wine, no doubt. If you produce quality, you will not only survive, you will thrive. And it's Scotch's job to do what these other competing countries are doing and bring the news, bring the quality, bring the things that make people sit up and go, do you know what? This is damn good. And as long as that continues to happen, why anybody's worried about something suffering is nonsense. It's your duty to bring good quality. So.
Right. I think the concern always, I just know from reading some of the history, is that, all of a sudden the demand drops way off. And of course they've overproduced and now they're sitting on stock that they either have to age out further, not a problem really, or sell off at a less profitable rate. But just judging by the new distilleries that are being opened, even in Scotland, I can't remember the figures, but I was listening to Mark Gillespie in Whiskey Cask, and he was listing off several of them. There's just growth. It looks like growth, I think, for the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah. Yep.
So, we're sitting in a great time. Not that Scott and I have mentioned, wouldn't it have been great like in the 70s, mid 70s, when when all the brown spirited, you could just go buy it for next to nothing. And
yeah, even into the 80s, I think it extended.
But I mean, the difference back then is that people were drinking a lot of brown spirits. They were drinking a lot of whiskey, but they were not drinking single malts. Single malts were the preserve of people in the know. They were the preserve of countries in the know, like France and Italy. They knew about single malt and they were drinking it. And even in Scotland, we were not drinking single malts. And if you found yourself drinking a single malt, it was probably due to your proximity to the distillery. It was down to the fact that you could get your hand on a single malt, and you probably didn't even appreciate the difference between that and your local or store selling you a blend. You just didn't. It just tasted good to you. I think the difference is now is that we have definition and we have quality and we have people are drinking for flavor. They're not drinking for a destination now.
Right.
The craft beer explosion shows you the same scenario happening there. Yes. People are really getting into this and they're becoming educated about it. And now single malts are, at the New Year, Hogmanay year, I had everyone around this table and literally everyone had a dram in their hand. And even the ones that didn't normally drink it, they were enjoying it. They were enjoying the camaraderie, the discussion of what the differences were. Go back 20 years, there would literally be 1 out of the 20 of us drinking with a dram. That's the difference.
I agree. Now, Scott, I know you've got a lot of chatter going on here, and you got some stuff that's all highlighted in yellow and red.
Let's go back up a little bit.
What do you got? Take it over.
Let's talk about Hoagie Bear first asked us, would you say the Compass Box No Name is comparable to the best peated malts you've had thus far? It's pretty darn good. It's pretty complex. You got to give it. It opens up. There's sweetness. There's peat.
My score evolved.
Yes.
On camera.
Yeah.
So I will give you that. The problem is, again, I think I'm tasting one of the better peated whiskeys right now.
Or similar.
Right.
Now, well, your expectations were high with No Name because it was billed as the peatiest whiskey they had released.
True. The best thing we did on camera was grab the peat monster,
the regular
and
peat
do a
monster.
direct comparison, and immediately it started to evolve for me.
Now, I think No Name, though, at least in our area, is $110, $120.
$120.
Well worth it.
I can get this Lagavulin 2017.
Same thing. Same
right.
120.
That's the deal, though. I would lay in cases.
Do we need to go side by side?
Sorry. We should break it out. But what else do you have going on? What else do you have going on?
It is good.
It is good.
It's not going to be the most heavily peated. It's the most peated Compass Box has done.
It was very good as a peat head. You're right. I think the marketing had me expecting more, but it really held up, especially when we grabbed their peat monster and did the direct compare. What else you got going on here?
The Malted Man Cave, Keith. We've had him on. He sent us some samples.
Strong fella.
Another whiskey tuber.
He's the one that had the wild call, right? Didn't he have you did the freeze frame where he was yelling?
Yeah.
Right. Love that. Stout. He's stout.
He gave us $20.
Oh,
great
Lord.
Donation.
Wow. That's because, we had offended him and he wasn't he going to back us if we did something and we didn't do whatever it was on Patreon or something? Do you remember that? There was something with that.
He was the one during the 12 hours of boom.
Right. I had to go topless or something.
No, I had there was that. I think we had to go topless, but also if I did a shot.
That was it.
Cousin Shane brought me a shot of a whiskey.
You refused, and we kind of he kind of chilled on us for a moment, I believe. You don't want to see me topless. That's all I'm saying. And so I do
enjoy watching the Keith. I do enjoy watching the Malted Man Cave. And his passion is obvious, and he just loves it. He's so enthusiastic for it.
And thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll tell you, I started watching Keith early on, and like us, he was rough.
Well, like a manly rough.
I think we talked about this in the live stream with him, and we watched him for all. He started to evolve. He started to get better.
Sure.
And then we're watching you. You're getting better. Boom. Let's have you on. Let's do a live stream. We'll promote your channel. Boom. And we're there. And Keith is doing really good. He's still in there. The key with Whiskey Tubers is consistency.
Yes.
Hanging in there, staying with it. We're not making money.
Nope.
People think there's money being made.
Nope.
There's no money being made.
Not really. Maybe break even.
Yeah.
Maybe break even money.
But he says his wife buys a purse. He buys some scotch.
I like that rule. Although,
Now,
according to Scott, sometimes I buy a purse and scotch.
You do?
That's what I call it, a
There you
man
go.
bag.
Yeah. In this time though, and check out the Malted Man Cave. We've got a few people on here. The Scotch for Dummies are in here. The Malted Man Cave, Malted in Montreal.
Right. Scotch for Dummies even have a chef.
They do have one of them as a chef.
Yeah, one of them is a chef. That elevates them right there.
Mark's Whiskey Whistle is watching. Whiskey Jason. I apologize if I'm missing anybody. I'm sure that I am.
Jason's from Germany. Mark Whiskey Whistle, Korea, right?
Yeah.
South Korea.
Yeah. And a lot of these guys we've had on. We've done live streams with.
Anyang Haseo.
This year, back in 2017. So kind of a recap here of what we've done.
Love it. Keep going.
Now, in the meantime here, I had commented that my Ben Nevis was gone and I needed more of it.
Really?
Yeah. And Hoagie Bear says, congratulations. You are indeed an enlightened individual. You are now part of the few who understand and appreciate the Nevis.
Snell.
But maybe this is an exception to the Ben Nevis that some people don't get. We had the Single Cask Nation on, Jason and Joshua. They had a 20-year
Jubilee.
Ben Nevis.
Right, I love their Jubilees.
Tom R. is on here commenting. He bought one of the 20-year Ben Nevises, which is lovely. He loves it. It's great, he says. Goes on about it. So I don't think every Ben Nevis is this glue and sauerkraut.
Just the nose was glue, and it was
extravaganza.
weird. I got the sauerkraut on the finish.
And the last couple of sips after I'd add some water, I'd still swear I think there's some sherry influence. I was getting some sherry on it.
Well, I trust your sherry.
Here's an interesting anecdote on Ben Nevis for you is that most of their mash tuns are made of, most of their washbacks are made of stainless steel, but they have two that are made of Oregon pine. And I'm told that all the fermentation that comes out of the Oregon pine goes to Japan. And the stuff that comes out of the steel is used as the rest of the product. And I don't know if there's any truth in that, but it'd be quite curious if that was the case. Right?
Really? That is interesting.
Yeah. There must be a difference in what's produced from a stainless steel washback and what comes out of a pine washback, right?
Well, you gotta say the pine is at least going to impart something where the stainless steel should impart nothing. So maybe it's an additive. I mean, a natural additive, but I'm curious what that would be. Yeah. Interesting.
It's tough to get your hands on Ben Nevis, even here. You have to kind of go to an independent. There aren't a lot of Ben Nevises around.
Well, kudos to you as well, because you were the very first person that had told us, hey, do whatever you can to get a hold of some independent bottlings. And you'd explained how lovely the independent bottlers are in Scotland. And, obviously we got in with Scotch Malt Whisky Society, Single Cask Nation. And I couldn't agree more. I really love the exploration factor of whiskey, and it is rich in the independent bottling.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's what's really, really interesting for me and fun even is that when I'm watching you guys, the Scotch for Dummies, Malted in Montreal, Malted Man Cave, Whiskey in the Six, Rob up in Canada, I enjoy watching all the content. But what's very curious and what you might not be aware of is that I see that what's coming across in those broadcasts is whiskey from your perspective, which is clearly very different from whiskey from my perspective, living in Glasgow or Vin down at No Nonsense Whiskey in Coventry. And the reason that our perspective is affected is what the availability is, what we can buy. And that's what forms our opinions and our whiskey landscape. That's what colors the landscape for us. And I think that a lot of the time from the guys in the States, it's changing now. It's definitely changing. But you guys were always focused on branded products. That's what was being distributed. That's what you were able to buy and taste. And then you realize one day that it's much, much more granular than that. And you've got independent bottlers out there that will literally sell you a bottle from a single cask. And it completely just, you realize that your whiskey journey is only going to end when you die.
That is lovely. I agree 100%. That means, I mean, Scott and I have talked about it. When we first started the show, we thought, well, you know, looking at our shelves here, how many shows can we do? And we were sitting there thinking, well, we think we might run out after a year and a half. And that was just dumb for the dummies, because it's just exponential. And then you add in independent bottlings and all the different regions, and the world just so continued to just open up in such a way. There's a point where I actually felt overwhelmed. I don't know about you. Actually, a nod to you. I feel like you were definitely, out of the two of us, more of the whiskey expert, where you will dive a little bit deeper into the distillery or into the type of casking, where sometimes I feel like I'm much more, not just on the surface, but I kind of still judge the liquid just as it is. And the yearbook that Roy, you sent me, helped me out a lot, but I definitely see there's a depth that even I could go into. I don't know how far I'll go into, you know, here's the distillery, here's their wood, what type of wood, where'd they get the wood from? But I definitely even see a difference in Scott and I in terms of, heck, just your ability to remember what we tried. Roy, have you ever gotten to the point where you've had so much you're wondering if you've had a certain bottle or not?
That happens to me all the time.
Oh, thank God.
and it's interesting because the Whiskey Rev and I, the guys, we drank together a lot, and he always remembers. He's got an uncanny memory and an uncanny short-term memory as well. And he remembers. We had that. We tried that. Yeah, it's like you guys. It's like you and Scott. It's the same. And it's like, well, really, did we have that? Or sometimes you'll say, no, we didn't have that, Roy. It wasn't the 15. It was the 18 that we had. It happens to me all the time, and I've started to use my phone now. I take a lot of pictures on my phone, because when we go to the Whiskey Club, you tend to be having 6 or 8 drams in a night. Fabulous drams, you know, really opening your eyes to different independent bottlings, stuff from the past, new stuff that's just out. And the only way you're going to remember that, especially 8 drams in, right, is if you're writing it down or if you're taking photos with the phone. And I don't have a whiskey notebook. I should have one. I should do it.
I should as well.
It's just something I've not done yet.
I really should as well. I mean, because he's uncanny, and I end up feeling like, well, there's the slow child.
There's some High West back here, and there's a couple of High West I don't remember because we've done. I mean, it's not like the High West 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Right.
They've got different names, and some of those I don't remember. But like someone just a few months ago said, you guys need to do the Glenlivet 18.
I'm like, yeah.
And Bart's like, it sounds great.
Yeah,
definitely.
That sounds delicious the way you described
it. The Glenlivet 18 is my favorite Scotch Test Dummies video.
Yes, exactly. How could it not be? Cousin Shane's first appearance, and at least 2 years old. He sings Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen on it. And Bart didn't even remember we'd done it. I'm like, how do you not remember?
I remember his singing from that episode. If you would have said, I'll give you $1,000, $1,000 if you can say what we had when he sung Hallelujah, I would have been like, damn it. I would have been pissed because I remember the show. But you know what I remember from the show? I'll give you some behind the scenes. So I know that Cousin Shane sings phenomenally well, but he doesn't often break it out. And Scott had told me, let's have him over. We're going to have him on the show. We're going to incorporate him in. I said, this will be wonderful. But Cousin Shane wasn't sure he wanted to sing on the show. I think it was just a little bit of butterflies or whatever. And so I remember specifically as we get to the point, I'm like, I think we cut that out, obviously, but I'm like, sing. And if you hate your performance, I'll cut it out. I will get rid of it. We're adjusting. Sorry, I moved up. And so then he sang. And one weird thing we have, if anybody's been binge watching our old episodes, before the basement was done, before the bar set was built, we were out of my kitchen. I have very high ceilings. There's a bit of an echo, which isn't necessarily good for the talking part of the show. But when he sang, he filled that upper great room that I have like a cathedral. I mean, it was moving. It was unbelievable. As a matter of fact, our sound couldn't quite capture how good it was. So I I'm sure you could have said 10 grand, tell me the bottle. And I would have been like, God darn it.
Listen,
You know,
that video I've shared with so many people, and it doesn't matter if they're into whiskey or they're not into whiskey. I say, look, just watch this. Just watch this. And they go through the bit with you, and it's kind of funny. He turns up and he's got a paper cup of soda or something, and then you introduce him to whiskey. He knocks it back. Then you say, whoa, it's Glenlivet 18. You know, it's been 18 years and wood. Take your time. And he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, la-dee-da is what he says. La-dee-da.
That's right. And at the end, but he just, it's kind of you guys, the two of you are just sitting there like this. This kind of expression on where you're just straight-faced, deadpan to the camera through this whole thing. And at first that's comical because you're looking at you guys going, how are they acting? But then Shane's voice, everything is just, you'd suddenly, you know, the hairs in the back of your head standing in, and you're going, oh my God, this could only happen on YouTube. Something of this effect could only happen. And I show it to everybody, and I just watch their reaction when he sings, and they all go, holy shit, like this. Yeah. It's quite, as you say it, it's just, you know, the audio doesn't suffer at all from the fact it's in a kitchen. If anything, it's amplified by.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
you couldn't have staged that. You couldn't have.
I wish we.
Well, I don't think you even knew though, because I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to have Shane come over. He's going to sing this song."
Right.
And you were kind of like,
"Yeah, okay,
all right."
I mean, I'd heard he could sing. Yeah. I had heard that, but I didn't really know. And I wish we would have had a real good lav mic or something, because the boom mic's good, but the singing was probably double the quality in person. You know,
and for those watching though, we do have a playlist. If you go to our YouTube channel, there's a playlist with Cousin Shane.
Yeah, you can go.
And he makes several appearances. We're about due to have him back again.
Overdue.
We've got a few things in mind for this year, and let's move on. We've talked about whiskeys. Roy, let's just talk about your channel. Really, you came about. When did you start your channel?
Well. I was in whiskey. In terms of whiskey, I was only active on Instagram, right? And it was an Instagram thing, and I was enjoying my whiskey experiences through Instagram. And I didn't really connect with Twitter because of the character limit. I've got too much to say. You might pick up. I tend to talk too much. Bart and I are kindred spirits in that respect, perhaps. But I was claustrophobic in Twitter, which is maybe why Bart doesn't like Twitter. But Instagram let me say a bit more. And I realized what I was doing is using Instagram as a kind of micro blog thing. And then, so I said, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start a blog. I'm going to start a blog as a creative outlet for my whiskey passion and things. And I did that at the end of 2016. And it was fun for a while, but I realized some of the topics I was covering needed a video. It just needed a video, and I was going to have to take that step. And I took that step, and I did a couple of things. And you can't do whiskey pronunciation unless you're willing to demonstrate whiskey pronunciation. But I wasn't confident enough to tackle that. So I did a couple of experimental videos. I did the recycling video, and then I did the pronunciation video. And that pronunciation video has been fabulous for me. It's really, the amount of views for such a wee channel, for a wee channel like Aqvavitae, to have that many views on a video, it's been brilliant at bringing traffic. But it's the recycled videos that I started to do that brought the community. That's, you know, the pronunciation videos is just high traffic. The recycled videos brings the same guys that you are interacting with and that the other channels are interacting with. And that's been fantastic. So me, for next year, I want to continue more of that. I want to still cover whiskey concepts. I want to do more recycled videos. I want to continue the live shows. The live shows have been really, really good, a very recent addition. I just wanted a live show in Europe. I wanted it to be on UK time or European time so that we could enjoy it like we enjoy yours, but interact with it in real time. And there was nobody kind of doing that. And I decided that maybe I should try it. And I'm really glad I did, because it's been very well received. I'm very happy, and it's fabulous the support I've had. So this year I would like to continue that. I'd like to find the time to continue that, to do more recycled reviews and more whiskey concepts. Will I ever get to the stage that I sit down and review individual expressions? I don't have a motivation or a desire to do that right now. So I know that I get asked to do it regularly, but, you know, never say never. I might just run out of content. But right now, it's not part of the Aqvavitae landscape, I guess. Does that answer your question? I'm not even sure what your question was.
Well, I would say, and we haven't talked about it with Roy and Aqvavitae, if you don't know, he is quality over quantity. Roy, I mean, he might put out a video a month, every other month. He shoots a video, and if he doesn't like it, he shoots it again.
Right.
It's got to be perfect. Now, I shot the intro video yesterday to this. Roy was in Scotland. He's at his New Year's Eve bash, and there's a little bit of interference, Wi-Fi connection. He was all distraught over it.
Oh,
I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. Trust me, it's all right.
Yeah,
we're
when
rolling.
you flipped to the family, I was like, oh, that's his family. Yeah. Yeah, look at that. Because it was a surprise. It was like, look, everybody's going to want to go see your. Don't bring down your announcement, because that was neat.
Now we've had some technical difficulties before where we forgot to turn the mic on and we had to reshoot. But have we ever reshot anything based on the fact we didn't like?
What you want to catch Bart raw is what we call raw Bart.
And it's up. We shoot it like 30 minutes later. It's up. Like, bam, done.
Yeah, the only thing you got to do is hack. You got to hack some of it out.
Sometimes.
Right. Because I'll be like, I'll repeat myself.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that, there is, I realize what I've done for myself. I've got myself in this scenario that my style is edit heavy. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get across a concept. And I know how much I talk. You could probably pick up in this stream, I just talk far too much. All my live streams go way beyond the target time. I just talk too much. So after and post, I've got to edit that out. I've got to try and get it down to a concise message. And it's just, like you say, Scott, and I really, really thank you for that, for saying, it's quality over quantity. But really, I'm just the laziest guy in whiskey. And if people are willing to invest in me and subscribe and things, I guess that they just have to be patient and know that the content perhaps won't be as regular as a lot of the wonderful content that's coming out there. Some guys like you guys, 2 a week, No Nonsense Whiskey every single week on a Thursday. Literally, he's not missed a Thursday in well over a year. I mean, that dedication and consistency is just wonderful. I know I can never worship at that altar. It's impossible for me.
Well, let's say we hit 100,000 subscribers. It'll take like 5,000 videos.
Sure.
Roy will hit 100,000 subs with like 100 videos.
Wow. That's smart.
You see, yeah, exactly. He works smarter, not harder.
We're like a gerbil, like a hamster on a wheel.
And I think there's a huge argument for, if you look at all the popular videos that anybody's ever done for whiskey and you chase the numbers, you're going to lose a lot of what's wonderful about whiskey, what drove you to do this in the first place.
Right.
You need to bring what you're impassioned about, what you love at that point in time. And if it ends up that you can only achieve 20,000 subs, that's your ceiling, enjoy your 20,000 subs and continue doing what you love. If you chase the numbers, then you're somebody else's bitch. You end up in a place that you didn't want to be, doing something you don't really enjoy. And
that's right. Yeah.
Hold on. It sounds like we're going Swami style.
Swami, here. Yeah. Somebody else's bitch. Come on, Swami. Bring it down.
I got to give a couple shout outs here real quick.
That was good.
One is to Don Costello.
Ooh, I love Don.
I know Don is always.
Is he from Spain?
He is, I believe so.
It's Spain or Italy. I can't remember.
He's on here. He's commenting, and he's always commenting on our videos. I think this is the first time I've seen him on a live stream.
Yeah, very kind.
Maybe he's been in here before.
Very
I'm not
kind.
sure. And then we had up here a ways, I'm trying to find them, at least 2 new guys I had not seen before. D. Piper is one of them.
Piper.
And
does he play the Scottish pipes?
I don't know.
I hope so. I love that. Dan E does.
He's been in here commenting for a while, but JP Bama. JP Bama, Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
And if I could find the other one I saw earlier.
Are those like orange things, super chat?
No, just they can, if you put in at Scotch Test Dummies, it highlights it and brings it out.
Okay.
Now, Santa Cruzan did say a little bit ago, he can say without a doubt that the Scotch Test Dummies set him on his whiskey knowledge journey of whiskey.
I love the journey.
Thanks, guys. Really changed my thinking about it all.
Good.
So good.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you, Santa.
It's all about the fun, the enjoyment of the spirit.
J-Dub. That's who it was.
J-Dub.
Remember J-Dub and D. Piper.
We got a coworker that goes by J-Dub.
J-Dub. Yep. I haven't seen those guys before, so thanks for tuning in. We got a lot of people watching.
Tons.
This is we're up to 118 viewers. I don't know how.
Yeah, we're good. Well, it was that
hour and a half
the
in.
whole bitch comment brought
Yeah,
in.
that jumped
That brought in 50 right there. He just dropped the B word, and people are like, I'm tuning in now. I'm subscribing.
Sorry about that.
No, do it. We love it. No, we wouldn't mock you on that. We're good. You bring it in from Scotland, just the way you say it makes it good.
Yeah, there's another guy in here as well. There's a new guy in. I've been watching his stuff recently. My Bourbon Journey. He's in.
Oh yeah, Scott. Yeah, no, he was not. I didn't see him commenting before when I mentioned some other reviewers that were in here. But My Bourbon Journey, check out his channel as well. He had just done the Jim Beam Distiller's Cut when we had filmed ours the other day. We give him a little shout out during the review.
Right.
Newer channel as well, though. Check him out, though. And then Malted Man Cave appreciated our shout outs we were giving him because he had already picked up a few subscribers earlier.
Wow. And I said he was stout.
Yeah, and he did mention, though, that he never thought crosswise or anything about us, something.
No, he was mad at us when you wouldn't drink the shot. Yeah, he was physical. I mean, I think he tuned out for 6 months. He went on a dummy hiatus, is what I call it.
Toon Van Rouge from the Netherlands. He
Love
just gave us a little donation, a little super chat there.
Wow, the Toon. Yeah, Netherlands, right? Is it Netherlands or Denmark?
Toon's in Holland, yep.
Holland, okay.
Along with Ron Bout, who isn't. He'll probably be watching this on his way to work.
Man, we need to travel to Europe.
But those guys had a little chat going together just in the comment section the other day.
Love it.
Christopher Merloyd, real quick, he's asking us, do we do most of our drinking these days on camera? No. I do a lot more at nights at home.
You know, my deal is I've actually felt the crunch. It's a wonderful crunch is to sample because we're trying to get stuff sampled for a show. And the Lagavulin 2017 is one of the ones where I kept wanting to go back to it, but I was like, I got to go try that bourbon. Sorry, what do you got? You got to laugh.
Keith is serious. He thinks you're being serious. He says he was not ever across the Malted Man Cave. He says, where are you getting that? Bart's just messing with you.
No, I am. You were angry. There was, there was a whole, we had a schism. There was a schism going on. No, I'm just teasing. I'm just joking. So
I noticed that Jason Whiskey Wise is in. I know that Jason's been on your show as well.
Yeah.
Jason has just sent me, in the last few days, he sent me an hour of footage of Jason doing the blind tasting challenge that I'm going to edit over the next few. Bart, are you aware of this challenge? Do you know what it is? I basically send 5 blind samples to a reviewer, and they literally open them up and they do it online and they shoot it live, and then they send the footage to me to edit down into a consumable time frame, 20 minutes or less. Wow. And the first one I did it with Foodquig originally, but then I kind of tightened it up and sent it to Vin at No Nonsense Whiskey, and he nominated Jason Whiskey Wise to take it next, and Jason Whiskey Wise has now nominated someone else, and I don't want to say who that is, but the person who it is knows who, and they're up for the challenge. They're looking forward to receiving it, and it's making its way around.
Now, see, I didn't know you had that.
I'm going to edit that down, and there'll be another blind challenge out there. It's kind of cool.
Love it. I knew you had that original one with Foodquig. I didn't know it had taken on a life of its own. That's genius.
Well, I think what it does is it takes the idea, and I know that we all love, we're really, really suckered by blind tasting and what it does to you and how humbling it is, right? And how it teaches you that the whiskey is in charge. So if you just kind of treat it as something for you to decide nothing more than what you prefer, what you like, and then understand that it's only what you like at that moment, and it might change tomorrow and the week after and things. Yeah. But so that's happening, but also that level of trust and connectedness that one reviewer could hand over raw, unedited footage to another reviewer for another reviewer to edit it. I mean, that collaboration, I've not been aware of that level of trust. And I think it's quite a powerful thing, a message to convey how connected we are and how we do work we're all part of just a community. And I think it's a great thing. I think that's my way of saying, when are you guys going to put your hat in the ring for the blind challenge?
Anytime.
Hey, yeah, anytime.
Anytime you want. I try to do that with my quick hitters all the time. So,
well, and we have something new we talked about. We met up last week and shot some reviews, and I brought up an idea to you of this black box challenge.
Yeah.
We're going to start doing this where if I buy a bottle, Bart won't know about it. It's going to be in the black box. We're going to sit down. He's going to taste it and give his notes. We'll talk about the whiskey itself, and then we'll reveal what it is. So he'll be able to do the same to me. He'll put his whiskey in the black box. I'll sit down and review it blind, and we'll talk about it, and then we'll find out what it is. So you'll get some honest.
Should it be black bottle?
Black.
That was my only.
Well, no, black, not black bottle.
Because if it's in the black
there
box,
is a black.
I can't drink out of the black box.
Well, it's just like hiding it.
And
I've got it down here.
Really? Well, you've got it.
I'm way ahead of you.
I'm with you then. I'm with you.
Tom R, who, a shout out to Tom R, he's just a fabulous guy. Tom R is saying, Roy, if you do that to Bart, he'll send you 6 hours of video to edit.
Woo, that would be good. I'd be like, cut this down, Roy. Edit this.
Yeah, while I'm tasting this, let's take a look at.
And we're gonna play a board game. We're gonna play a board game live. Is what's gonna happen.
Get some tobacco notes.
That's right. I get tobacco notes,
now,
and I've rolled a 7.
I've rolled a 7. Nothing to do with whiskey whatsoever. Now, hey, Roy, okay. We are over the hour-and-a-half mark.
Yeah, this is the longest we've gone live, I believe.
We've probably done this. We started trying not to go this long,
but it's rolling. It's rolling.
It's rolling. It's New Year's Day.
Right.
Do we keep going?
A little bit more.
Roy, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I do feel like I may have to pull a food quig on you and go for a pee.
Okay.
But other than that, I'm happy to. The only downside, I think, is that it can affect it.
We will let you do that.
Pulling a food quig. I love that.
Yeah.
We'll let you do that. Pull a food quig myself.
We'll talk for a minute, but before you go, you had questioned how many viewers you would pull over to our channel. At least one. Rafael Ortega has commented. He's a longtime Aqvavitae fan, and he's new to our channel.
Way to go, Raphael.
Yeah, so thank you.
Raphael needs a Scotch God shout out. He's watching you from Argentina.
Wow.
All right.
Wow, way to go, Raphael.
Okay, so Roy, go take your break. We will keep the camera tuned on us, and we will go over what my thoughts are.
Go shake a quig.
Now,
Roy's shaking a quig.
Okay. Here's
what we're calling it. So we're going to go with it.
This is an old Johnny Walker Blue box, but this will be marked out. This is going to be a black box review,
full
basically.
Black box.
So what I will do is Bart will be off camera. I will have a whiskey in here.
Okay.
And I will pour it. Bart will come back on camera.
So
you guys, the camera, as we're filming, I will reveal what we are looking at, what we are tasting. Bart won't know.
I smell what you're saying now. So the viewers are going to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see it.
You can't see it.
Boom, the black box.
And then we'll talk about what notes are you getting, how old do you think it is. You'll know if it's a bourbon or a Scotch. You're going to know what region.
I can usually even pick out. I've been getting better at picking out rye, bourbons, and Scotches.
Sure.
I blew it on an Armagnac.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had a blind Armagnac, and I'm like, I don't know.
So, and then the same. If you have a bottle, now it'll have to be bottles I don't know that you have, because I don't want to look on the shelf and be thinking, well, maybe this is the Glenlivet.
Wow, that gets hard.
So you just have to buy something that you know, and don't tell me you have it.
That's hard.
So I've already got a couple for you.
Wow, I'm easy. I could mention, like, I got this. You'd be like, yep, just sampled this one myself here. I can tell that's the Astro.
That would be the only thing. Would I want to get you a sample blind beforehand for you to look at?
No, I say you just run hardcore.
Come in blind.
Kind of like the quick hitter. I don't know what's there. I have to sample. I got to keep the show alive. That's probably one of the hardest things when you're blind sampling. You're wanting to be quiet, but if you're there, well, I end up being quiet, but if you're there to carry,
do you like this box?
Love it.
With the reveal.
Yeah, it's almost sexual.
Wow.
This will be the black box reviews that we're talking about. So I will have Bart will be off camera. I will pour the drinks, Roy, and Bart will come back on camera. And then when he sits down, I will open it up so the viewers can see what we're reviewing.
But I can't.
You won't. We'll go through. We talk about the whiskey. You give your notes on it. What are you getting? How old do you think it is?
Some super chat.
Ooh, Tom R just gave a nice $25 donation. Thank you, Tom R.
I couldn't even see it. I'm so far away, but I saw something. Wow.
Good times are rolling. So this is something we're going to go into 2018 with. We'll call them, I think, a black box review. Black box review.
Do it. I might have to pull a quig in a second.
But the same Bart will have bottles. He'll be able to do it to me. And I think, it's going to give an honest, what are you getting?
Yeah.
How much do you think it's worth?
No,
how old do you think it is?
Oh, yeah. The blind tasting is unbelievable. I mean, I got crazy on one of my latest ones where I didn't know what I had, but I had the, the Distiller's Edition.
Oh, Cragganmore.
The Cragganmore Distiller's Edition. And I started waxing, I think it's a lowland. Maybe it's a light space side, which it ended up being. And I'm like, what am I doing? I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Turned out I was in the ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah. I figured I was going to reveal it and be like, this is a rye from Kentucky. I'd be like, what the hell? I just sucked.
I think the way you come unstuck with blind tasting is when you overthink it. Like the Whiskey Rev, you might see some samples here over my shoulder. These are all blind samples that he's brought down. And they've just got just colored dots and things on. And so what he'll do is he'll pour a dram each and we'll sit and talk about it. And inevitably I get it wrong because I'm overthinking it, because I'm trying to imagine his collection rather than just go with what I'm tasting. I never ever learn to just mellow out, just chill out and go with it. What's the ABV? What is it telling you it's Highland? Is it Spacing? No, I try and imagine what the Rev would bring from his collection. It's not.
That's what I was saying while you were gone. I've got a couple bottles that I've already picked up that I've already bought. Bart doesn't know I have them. So there's nothing visually in his mind as far as what they are. And he will know, like if it's a Wednesday show, it's going to be an America's whiskey or a bourbon. And if it's a Saturday show, he's going to know it's a world whiskey or a Scotch, in that realm anyway.
All right. I love it. No, but you're right on. I mean, that's one thing I try to do in the quick hitters that we do, which was Scott's idea on the quick hitters, where we appear solo. So the co-host isn't there.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go blind because I feel like I'm operating without a net. And on a big extent, when I'm sampling blind, or even when I'm trying to sample, even if I know what's in there, I try to kind of clear everything out. It's almost meditative. And I just want to, when I first taste something, I've even gotten to the point where sometimes I'll just write it out, or I'll make note of it. Or when I'm on the quick hitter, I'm not editing that generally, unless there's some kind of crazy error. But that way it just, hey, I'm getting this, I'm getting that. And I try to say it no matter what it is. I mean, if I might be getting bananas from en route or something, I'll just say it. And I also don't know what I've got in there. So if I get something that I'm not enjoying, I didn't actually enjoy the Armagnac too much, I can just say it. And I don't feel like, but I always love Lagavulin. Surely I love this one. So none of that, all of that is gone.
Yeah, and I think what it does is it also demonstrates the how crazy and nonsense it is that somebody could just pick up a dram and tell you what distillery it's from and tell you what age it is and things like that. Now, I'm not saying that can't happen. It can. There are some distilleries out there that have such a distinctive character, and of course there are huge variations in the level and skill of people. But the idea that you could just pick up a blind dram and tell somebody where it's from is largely fantasy, right? It's not about that. It's about you deciding what you enjoy, what you like.
Quick shout out, Andy Walker donated $2 or £2. Is it 2 lira, 2 pounds?
What is that? Yeah,
it's not super cash.
Oh,
super chat.
Super chat. I thought you were using the force. Thought he was just pulling it in.
The Whiskey Throttle wants you to be honest. What? Do you have to tell the voices to be quiet?
No.
In your head?
No.
They just go.
I will tell you this. I did stand-up comedy for a while. We're talking about 20 years ago. I did amateur stand-up comedy. And it was crazy. I always felt like I might be able to do it, but I was not a little nervous. I was very nervous. But I believe in the experience of everything. So I got up and did it. And what I really learned from that is, because I had a whole routine set about 3 days out, I thought, no, that's not going to do it. And I went with what kind of an inner voice said. But I believe I'm the person behind the voice. I don't know if that makes sense. So But I mean, I
the
listen,
voices don't control you; you control the voices.
kind of. I listen to them a little bit, and I've gotten good at kind of sitting back but listening to the noise that comes in. That's one reason that whiskey is very contemplative for me. When I sit down, I like to have a little music on in the background. But I'll prefer. There's nothing better than having a dram with friends or even live with the show. But when I'm alone and I'm really enjoying a dram, it really does hit a meditative level for me sometimes. So, but yeah.
And Whiskey Throttle thanks you for all that information.
Yeah, I know. There we go. You got me excited. I was like, yeah, I actually.
Yeah. A chance to talk.
Well, yeah. Sorry.
Another quick shout out. Another new watcher I haven't seen before, Frank Harvey, is tuning in, and he said, "Great stream, guys." Now this is Frank. This is going longer than we usually go. We're at an hour and 45 minutes. We've got. I think we've got 2 hours is the most.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to quig.
1:59.
I'm gonna have to quig soon.
We're gonna have to shut it down.
Right, and we have lighting over there that blocks the doorway.
So
it moves. Should I quig?
What we talked about our black box reviews. Roy talked about his channel, some stuff coming up 2018, and really we haven't mentioned it too much. I didn't get any poppers. I wanted some poppers to celebrate the new year. Happy New Year to everybody that's tuning in.
Yep, to everybody.
Some shout outs to people that have helped us through the year, and we've already gave some, but again to the reviewers that are in here, Malted in Montreal, My Bourbon Journey, Mark's Whiskey Whistle, Jason Whiskey Wise, Whiskey in the Six.
Right, drinking caveman.
He's not. He hasn't been watching.
Oh,
but drinking caveman.
Oh.
Malted in Montreal.
Sure.
Or malted man cave. That's where.
Sorry.
Yeah. And someone thought we were getting them mixed up earlier. No, drinking caveman and malted man cave.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Malted man cave are two different people.
I thought you were talking Swami when you said Montreal.
The Scotch for Dummies have been here tuning in. They sent the Ben Nevis sample to us. Actually, that came to them from Hoagie Bear. Of course, Roy Aqvavitae is with us. Roy, who else have we missed that's been watching?
Let me do a quick.
Well, I don't know if they've been watching tonight, but I think I would like to give a shout out to somebody. You mentioned the Drinking Caveman there, and he's got a buddy, Wally. And
that's right.
The YouTube channel, Whisky Untitled, I think. They're putting out a live stream every single week. And those guys are both coming from Instagram environments. So I think that they haven't started in YouTube. But Wally was in Scotch and Sniff, who had a decent YouTube presence. Yeah. So they're bringing this live stream. And it seems to be still a little bit undiscovered. And they're just getting together and having some decent quality chat. They're starting to get on some decent guests and things. And I think they deserve a bit of a shout out because they're bringing it.
Yeah. Sniff from Scotch and Sniff. He started the live streams with Drinking Caveman. Mm-hmm. And they're going very well. I've tuned into several of them. If you guys don't watch, do. Both Scotch and Sniff, he still has a channel. Wally does. He's doing the 1 minute reviews, and then him and Drinking Caveman started the Whiskey Untitled, which I ought to confirm that and make sure, but that does sound right now that you say that.
Yeah, it's Whiskey Untitled. I think Scotch and Sniff has kind of gone to a more kind of 60-second review thing, and I think that's a format they're trying to bridge the Instagram, YouTube thing with.
Well, there was the two of them. Scotch was his brother. And his brother decided to, I don't want to say quit, but he left it behind.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, some people, that's, everyone's allowed. But the trouble with a partnership with you and Bart and things is that, you might have, I can't imagine you guys ever having the difference. You've known each other long enough, right? But I guess that can happen. But Wally, Sniff, he's super, super impassioned and deserves to be able to go on and find other ways to explore this. And he's doing a good job, and not a lot of people know about what they're doing yet.
And then just, we've got a lot of fans that tune in. Amy and Amy's husband, Tom R. is here a lot. Claire the Third, Whiskey Throttle, Dan E. Don Costello, like I say. Who's that?
Dram Dude and Connor Strang. I mean, both those guys have been participants in the Aqvavitae quiz on the live streams. But Connor Strang kicked out the park. He got 10 out of 10 in the quiz. And this is a quiz that keeps Swami malted in Montreal awake at night with fear. And Connor got 10 out of 10.
Yeah, Welsh Toro, Christopher Malloy, we've seen in here a lot. Thanks to everybody. George Kaplan is Amy's husband. Just going back up through. Let me scroll up a ways and see. And I apologize if we missed somebody.
Oh, we'll miss somebody.
Hold on, now I adjusted the camera while you were gone.
He's cut me out.
Well, the guy I always want to give a shout out to that's not in tonight, and he's a guy that I feel an emotional connection with. And it's bizarre to me that I haven't breathed the same air as this man, and that is Foodquig up in Canada.
Oh, yes.
And that's just because of the way that he doesn't even notice that the camera's on him. He would just literally switch the thing on, start recording. He doesn't edit out any of his pauses or his breaks or anything, so he can literally take 20 minutes to dissect a whiskey. But my God, he does it like nobody else.
I agree. Yeah, and he's got his own channel. Check out Foodquig.
Yeah,
Santa Cruz, and he's in here a lot, helping us out. Big Patreon supporter. Raster's always tuning in.
Raster likes when we do yelling shout outs like Roy is with us. He loves that.
Travis Faircloth, he arranged, he's a big supporter as well, and he arranged us our caviar tasting.
Wow. There's a Q&A with Allison Patel in here.
From Bryn.
Yeah, from Bryn. She looks
French
like
whiskey.
Gives great. Yeah. Way to go, Bryn 10.
Malted in Montreal, I think we mentioned him. Jason Whiskey Wise, My Bourbon Journey. Thanks everybody. Jez Body, he's in here. Hoagie Bear.
Have you seen the new Star Wars Last Jedi yet?
Nope.
Dang it. Come on,
man.
Jamie, the Beaver. Can't forget the Beaver.
The Beaver. Is voicing in?
I apologize. I have not seen Jesse voicing in comment.
Maybe he's flying.
Give Don Costello a shout out because he's just come across to Aqvavitae and subbed and left a message.
Woo!
You're a gentleman, Don. Thank you so much.
You bet, Don. Don is awesome. You're gonna love Don.
Oh, yeah, Jay Fretless, he's back with us. Thank you, Jay Fretless. He just gave a little donation, super chat as well.
Fretless, does that mean he frets very little? Or is it his last name and I just made fun of him?
Does not. And Whiskey Throttle just gave us a donation.
Nice.
Did you wash your hands?
Yeah. Actually, I had to queue up.
Christopher Malloy, thanks.
Your son was in the bathroom, and I really waited, and I had to go, and I had to be patient.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we were good. Sorry. See, we got into bathroom.
I think 2017. Well, okay, let's look at some of our numbers. I think we started 2017 with 2,200 subscribers, 2,200 subscribers. We've grown to 5,200. That's
a great year.
Now, I just looked at our numbers. We shot, I want to say, 180 reviews last year. But we're doing, 2 a week. We do a World Whiskey and America's Whiskey and our live streams.
Right.
No, we shot 141 reviews last year. And that's minus. That is not the
I was going to say.
hitters.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay.
That's
the quick hitters. The quick hitters aren't numbered.
Right.
Now, we didn't number our 16 bourbon shootout or the rye shootout, though, either.
Yes, they were numbered.
They were numbered.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
Yep.
You're right, because somebody got mad that our number system got thrown off while we were putting those out.
We just hit 6 million minutes watched yesterday or the day before.
We hit the 6 million minutes?
Yep.
I didn't even know, because we just hit 5 million minutes 3 months ago.
It was our quickest by far for the million. It's been increasing each period.
Right.
The 5 to 6 million minutes was the quickest by far.
And we're closing out on actual million.
1 million views. Yes. Well, it
crazy.
Should happen maybe towards the end of January.
Because I told you if we have 17 people, that's a win.
Yeah.
Early on, I said, if we get 17 people willing to watch you and I drink whiskey, win. That's the win bracket. I shoot low. I shoot very low.
Looking forward though to 2018, the black box reviews. We'll start planning the next 12 hours of Boom.
Yep, we've talked about, and I know most of the heavy lifting on this will be me. We want to do a blind peat shootout. I still want to do 16. You're thinking 8.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
Right. I know. I just really want to work in some different ones.
I think the difficulty will be finding 16 peated whiskies that are the same color, right? You're going to end up with a lot of kind of sherry.
Yeah, and if you keep them the same ABV range, stuff like that.
Well, see, we could
age
go with darker
range,
sample bottles. We could forget the age range because, well, other than I think anything, 12 years and under, anything over is a lot subtler. I'm looking for some, but I wouldn't mind some older ones. I don't know. We got to talk. The peat's got a range, but I'm really excited by doing a blind peat shootout. Because I kind of want to experience my favorites completely blind. So I wouldn't even mind if we go up and get some of the subtler 18-year Lafroig in there. I want to see, how does that compare? How does the subtlety of the peat compare with maybe the 8-year Lagavulin or whatever? By the way, do you still have the 8-year Lagavulin?
Yes.
Good, because I almost
now look right. It's right there. Look what's next to it. I got.
Let's pour one. Let's pour
Christmas.
one to sign off. Okay.
What do you got to do?
Oh, let's pour one to sign our last drink.
Okay. And
Laga 8.
Signed off. What are you looking at?
Right next to the Lagavulin 8 there. I got white elephant gift.
Wow. That's a white elephant?
Uh-huh.
That's like an awesome elephant.
Or just use your Lagavulin 8 glass. How's that?
Yeah.
Or your Lagavulin glass. Same one?
Sure.
You don't remember what you had last.
I just want to shout out to Whiskey Wolf. Thank you for coming along and serving to me as well. And it's nice to welcome you in. And good night to Jason Whiskey Wise as well. He's had to go because his battery's dead.
Yeah, we are running. This is epic. This is epic here.
We got 4 minutes left. We're going to pour the Lagavulin 8.
Good call.
And thanks to everybody that tuned in today.
Well, the 2017 Lagavulin.
Thanks to everybody that. Oh no, he wanted the Lagavulin 8.
Oh, is that what you wanted to pour?
Yeah. Are you not listening?
God, I was not listening.
We got Lagavulin 12, Roy. No, we're all right.
Well, as soon as you said Lagavulin, I heard 2017 limited edition.
Yeah, it's a good place to be. Spoiled for choice in Lagavulin. Right?
I almost heard you say Compass Box Circus. That's kind of what I heard at first.
Yeah, one day, Scott. One day. Maybe it needs 10K subs for you to start busting those guys open, does it?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
We are working on a show coming up in 2018, a couple months out, that may open up the Compass Box Circus.
That would be interesting.
So
we're trying to work in some special things. So as much as we can say.
I want to say as well before I disappear, I mean, the numbers that you guys are quoting are phenomenal. I mean, just to go from 2-ish K to 5+ in a year and all of these things. I mean, and you guys deserve it. You really deserve all of that success. Not just, as Jez Batty already gave you a shout out earlier for, he wanted to say thanks for you starting the live shows as well, which you definitely did. You pioneered that on the scale that you did it. It was fantastic. But for me, for Aqvavitae, to have started 2017 just watching you guys, to start 2018 being your New Year guest, sorry, I can't even imagine how that happened. It's fabulous.
Well, we know how it happened.
Yeah, you were phenomenal.
Exactly.
Whiskey, is there anything it can't do, as the Whiskey Rep says.
There you go.
And a quick shout out, Fun Johnny. He just super cashed $2. Or super chat. I keep saying super cash. Super chat.
They should call it cash.
But I'm still going to go back to Whiskey Throttle still on his $20. Excellent. It's still showing up at the top up there. Good job. And we got 2 minutes left for people to super chat us.
Sure. And I can't wait till we actually get over to Scotland.
Yes.
I want to sit down with Roy and Whiskey Rev and share that air.
That's right. Breathe the same air. That's right.
That's right. Breathe the same air and drink Roy's whiskey.
Well,
yeah, you're very welcome. And until such a time that happens, this is a nice substitute, isn't it, guys?
Very nice. You might as well. I literally have told people it feels like, and I'm referencing you in my mind when I say this, that you're one of the folks that I feel like you're just down the block. Because you and I know you'll connect with Scott even more so, but you know, we'll connect and share our thoughts and work together on different projects or whatnot, and it's just, it literally feels like you're next door.
Yep, the technology and whiskey together shrinking the world. It's lovely.
Love it. So, Scott, we're getting closer. We're about a minute away from the shutdown.
Well, another comment just come up about the super chat again. Lower left-hand corner in the chat box is a little $sign. There's like an emoji sign, and then there's a $sign. And you can click on that through YouTube and donate money.
Yeah.
Which helps us out tremendously.
Sure. 2018, we're going to do our first little mini trip to a distillery, a little craft distillery in KC area. And we would love to get on the Bourbon Trail this year as well. I don't know. We'll see. We still both have full-time jobs that are quite demanding, and then raising the money and getting the time.
Yeah. Saltwater taffy and salted pretzel, both on the Lagavulin 12.
Just delicious, and I'm glad my wife got me a bottle of this for Christmas.
Yeah. George Kaplan is saying he's afraid that this is going to be the best live stream of the year. Don't worry, George. There's lots more awesome stuff to come. We're all fired up.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I would like to point out, Roy, and of course you were a lot newer back in July when we did the 12 hours of boom.
Yeah.
And we hit you up. We wanted you to be one of the guests in a 45-minute episode.
Can we invite him right now?
We can.
Boom?
We can.
Yeah.
But Roy was skeptical about coming on at that time because he didn't know if he could talk for 45 minutes.
Oh, boom, Roy, boom.
And Roy is now heading his own 2-hour live streams.
Wow.
Well, I mean, the other thing was that back when you did the 12 hours of boom, you and I were working on a lot of projects together and things, but I didn't have a presence. I didn't feel like I justified a slot in the 12 hours of boom. I'm still very, very glad that I did that, and it was wonderful to be a part of that, and I can't wait for it to be a thing this year as well. That was just great. That was just a huge whiskey event, and the fact that you're thinking about doing it every year is superb.
Guaranteed. We can't look for. I mean, we're looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
All
right. Well, hey, Roy, thanks for joining us again. Hey, give your channel name, give your Twitter name and Instagram name. Let people know where to find you.
Aqvavitae. The difficulty with Aqvavitae is instead of aqua with a U, it's a V. It's like the Latin aqua, so it's Aqvavitae. And I'm on Instagram as Aqvavitae. I'm on Facebook as Aqvavitae, the Water of Life. I'm on Twitter as Aqvavitae _SCO. But the best place to interact with me is, funnily enough, on YouTube. If you look up YouTube as Aqvavitae, and I would be wonderful to welcome you there. Thank you, guys. This has been awesome. Thank you to everybody that tuned in. I feel like you're all friends. It's very cool. It's very cool.
That's a great way to put it.
I agree.
And one friend that unfortunately just tuned in is Vin, No Nonsense Whiskey. He's coming in right at the end as we're closing out.
That's the last minute.
That's it. Last minute.
The bad news for Vin is that he's going to have to sit through 2 hours of footage to find all these shout outs.
He did get a mention or two in there.
Yeah.
We talked about him and the blind sample challenge.
Right.
So, but yeah, he'll have to watch the whole 2-hour video to catch that. So
cool.
Thank you, Roy, for joining us. Thank you to everybody that made 2017 what it was.
Wonderful year. And
thank you for everybody that's going to make 2018 what it will be.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
And
Scotch it, you Scotch gods.
Sláinte.
Sláinte.